Hi students, we are now entering our Module 4. This is our last module of the semester, which has our last assignments. So yes, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. And so what we're going to be doing is focusing on one last writing assignment. And I'm going to go through that with you here in this overview video. So one of the first things I want to mention is to pay attention to the deadlines, because this is technically, your final. So in other words, there isn't a lot of room for extra time. And so, you have to be really cognizant of that. So I have set, instead of our usual Tuesday deadline, because finals week is kind of a, different type of week. The schedule changes a little bit and there's all kinds of things going on. So what we're going to do is I went ahead and put the deadline for the assignments on the 12th. So that'll be the Friday. And then for the grace period, I put it through finals week to the 16th, which gives you a little bit of flexibility. If you have any, if things are piled up on you, some of you may have face-to-face finals you have to schedule, and I know a lot of things can hit at once during finals week. So hopefully this gives you a little bit of flexibility, but I would say the earlier you submit, probably the better. So that is what our schedule looks like for this last module. So it basically spans 2 weeks, but it's not formatted in our usual folder per week, because I think it's easier to just put everything in one for this last time period. Okay, so that's how we're doing it. So this will cover our last 2 weeks of the semester. Okay, so you do have an official assignment sheet, and this is going to have all the information you need to know about the last writing project 3, which is a reflective essay. I'm going to do a separate video covering that topic, so make sure you watch that. But once you read once you look over the assignment, I have a couple of prep assignments for you to do before you do the essay. So this is your last Connect assignment on reflection writing, and so it gives you just some foundation for what it means to do reflection writing. You all have been doing reflection writing just, along the way in your journals and in different ways. But to do a reflection essay, it's a little bit of a more focus on it, and you go a little bit deeper. So you will need some foundation to help you do that. I have also provided some supplemental resources, a handout, and a video that I think can also support you as you start to work on your last paper. There's a couple knowledge check questions you guys can do if you want to check what you got out of it. Just kind of your self-checks there. And then I do have a quiz for you on those resources. So make sure you do that. The resource I'm providing you for the Writing Project 3 is a drafting guide. This is a walkthrough that just kind of helps you set everything up and start thinking about what you're going to be doing for this last writing assignment. So you do have my guidance there. And the journal assignment is going to be just an open planning pre-writing session. That's it. So you get to choose the way you want to plan your essay. And this is just getting ideas down. So you're not really, this isn't an outlining or structuring the essay. This is just getting ideas down that you can start with, have something to start with. So I've given you several different types of approaches that you can use. Mind mapping, a timeline, a dialogue, letter writing, those type of things. However, again, this is just brainstorming. Your essay will still need to be in essay format, so not a letter, but you can go back to your pre-writing that you did. Sometimes a different approach helps us to get ideas down. So I wanted to give you guys that opportunity to do something a little different here in your pre-writing. So that's just a place for you to start. And so since we are just doing a single draft for this paper, so we're not going to have a peer review, we're not going to have all that stuff. This is just you doing one draft and submitting it as your last assignment of the semester. So you still have the MLA formatting help, so I do relink to a few resources. And I'm going to release the assignment link later in the week. So right now you might just see this little placeholder for where you will submit the essay. Okay, and so everything we do over this inside this module will cover our last 2 weeks and will help you get through that last writing assignment that you will submit as your last final assignment of the semester. You're almost there. Get ready to be complete, celebrate the end of a semester, hopefully successfully, and I will still be here and available if anyone needs help.